This episode of the Two Idiots Podcast is brought to you in part by Adorned by Ruth. Valentine's Day is coming, folks. Are you looking for a unique gift to wow your special person? Check out Adorned by Ruth, a local jewelry brand that offers one-of-a-kind, high-quality earrings, bracelets, and necklaces.
Adorned by Ruth jewelry is made using sterling silver and gold-filled metal. Gold-filled is recommended by jewelers as a great alternative to solid gold because of its high content of gold as opposed to gold-plated jewelry. It's durable, water-resistant, and a fraction of the cost of solid gold.
Adorned by Ruth jewelry can be found on Etsy as well as on her website, which is adornedbyruth.com. If you're searching on Etsy, though, type the name without spaces, and Ruth also makes custom pieces and will work with you to create the jewelry item you want.
Adorned by Ruth makes gifting easy. Each jewelry piece comes packaged in a beautiful branded gift box, so it's gifting ready. If you want to add your own message, just leave her a note at checkout and she'll hand print it onto a gift card. TIP listeners get a special discount code that can be used at both the AR website and Etsy store from now until February 14th. Use code TIP10, that's TIP10, for a 10% discount on your cart total.
And if you're a local buyer, you can leave Ruth a note at checkout on either her website or on Etsy to arrange a contactless order, drop-off, or pickup for COVID, all that good stuff. So definitely check out adornedbyruth.com and also her Etsy store, etsy.com/ca/shop/adornedbyruth.
You can also find Ruth on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest.
Boom. Check her out, folks. You made it in.
Technical difficulties, but we made it.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. That's par for the course.
I mean, it's on brand with the podcast name, so.
That's right.
Exactly. That's why we have it like that. We keep expectations low.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
there's something mess with my Google Meets too. My work always uses it, and I have to I can't join through a link. I need the actual code, but it's all
Weird.
good.
Cool. Well, we made it.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, you too.
So I'm Reg, obviously. I don't know if you can see the name. That's Randy.
Hi.
Reg and Randy. 2 R's. Easy to remember.
Yeah, a couple of arses. Yeah. Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Two Idiots Podcast. I'm Reg.
I'm Randy.
Whoops. Hold on. I might have to redo that. I forgot to record
Reg
the video.
fucked up. You fucked up.
Well, you know what?
Podcast.
Who cares?
It's all over.
I'll just put the logo until right now.
There you go.
It's fine. Nobody watches YouTube anyway. Anyway, joining us this week, we have Mr. Julian Rowan. Welcome here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Winnipeg sensation.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are out of where again? Steinbach?
Around Steinbach, yeah. New Bothwell area, Steinbach. Southern, rural Manitoba.
Yes.
Living the dream.
Oh, I don't know. No.
If you want to call it that, sure.
Yeah, somebody's dream maybe, but certainly not mine most days.
Any publicity's good publicity, right? So.
No, that's not true. Well, we had a Hugs Over Mask protest again yesterday in Steinbach, so that is not good publicity. Bad publicity.
No. Yeah, I think with the jokes I've made, I don't think I'm going to be able to buy any cars there anytime soon, which sucks. But
yeah,
it won't be worth the trip just to get stoned to death as soon as I cross the border.
That's fair. I'm not sure if it was ever worth the trip, but it's seemingly less and less last little bit. So
I went to a private Christian high school, and so most of them are Mennonite, and so I've already been to a handful of Steinbach weddings. So
you get the gist.
I've made the trek out there before once or twice.
That's great.
For
you know the deal out here,
then. Yeah, wedding.
Yeah.
Married on a Sunday, no dancing. God
Yeah.
love it.
Oh, we've definitely been to those. Yeah, you're in the church basement. The meal is just FOSPA, so you just get cheese and luncheon meats, and you don't touch each other.
Skip the dishes catered from Boston Pizza. Steinbach's excellent.
That would be amazing. That would be better
be.
than most of the Mennonite weddings I've been to.
Yeah, that would actually probably be better for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Why, some pizza's a sin? Who knows?
Everything's a sin. It's all sinful.
Yeah.
That's funny. How does I didn't know that you went to a private Christian school. Which one? And how did you end up in the profession you're in?
Yeah, I went to Linden Christian School, actually, since grade 3, and I graduated. I could have gone to St. Paul's or Massey, but I had a really core group of friends there, so wasn't really wanting to make a jump. Like, I'm still in touch with a lot of my high school buddies, which is pretty unique. I feel like, I don't know, after the first year or two, you kind of lose touch, but we've been able to remain really close brothers. And
The disciples.
it was good to kind of get a balance, because I think if I got thrown into a public school, I'd be in jail or something like that. It was nice to kind of have some moral compass instilled in me. And I also played basketball. I was the starting point guard, so I knew I wasn't good enough to like go to St. Paul's and start. So I figured I'd just stay in like the lowest tier, so I can actually maybe get like 2 or 4 points in a game. So
It's very
Big
strategic.
fish, small pond, baby.
yeah. Exactly.
I'm sure that's what every Christian school loves to hear. That we want our students to stay not for the theology, not for the, but just for the starting basketball.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was a very different experience. Like I've definitely encompassed some true stories and some of my stand-up comedy that people like think I made it up, but it makes my job as a comedian pretty easy when you could just pull from actual real stories from a school like that, because they're like, what the hell? There's no way this is real.
Oh man, those jokes, depending on what they are, might either fly where we're from or not do well at all, because everybody will know that it's a true story.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because apparently like grad committees in the past have like wanted me to do comedy at their grad, and then all the teachers are like, no, we are not letting that happen.
What's one of those true stories? Any come to mind that you worked into an act or into a bit? I mean,
yeah. There's one that really always sticks out. It was kind of my closer for a bit, but we had chapel every single Friday, which was very similar to church. We'd sing songs and do worship, and then they'd have like a guest speaker. And one time chapel started really like differently, where they're like, hey, we just, because there's such a big sample size of you kids, we agreed to let this flower company run this survey with you kids. So we all got this flower, and there was about 300 of us kids, and we're supposed to like rate it on a scale from 1 to 10 for texture, color, and smell. So obviously not COVID friendly, but we all passed the same flower around, and we were all rating it, ranking it. And then it went back to the normal chapel stuff where we're getting brainwashed. And no, but then there was a guest speaker who came up, and the whole topic was about not having sex before marriage. And he was talking for like 45 minutes straight, and then he ended it by going like, it was this mic drop moment where he's like, okay kids, remember that survey you did at the beginning of chapel? That was actually all a lie. Now what I want you to do is think about your virginity like this. And he held up a perfect red rose, and then he held up a flower that every kid had been touching and playing with. It was all like ripped and torn to shreds, and he looked at his kids and he was like, hey, which one would you rather have? And it was just the punchline to the joke is, I said at I fucked up, I haven't done comedy in months, but it was like they told us that if we did the flower survey, we'd all get entered to win a free $10 Subway gift card. So the punchline was like, after he's like, hey, which one would you rather have? I stood up, I yelled, hey, asshole. Do we still get like, what's the deal? So that was a true story.
You kind of glitched right in the middle of your punchline.
Yeah. Did it cut out?
Yeah, sort of. It was like, hey, asshole, and then you froze.
Oh, I was like, do we still get the Subway gift card? So it's this big moment of a mic drop that he was supposed to have. But I don't know. There's crazy stories. Like, I remember getting suspended just for like being around people who smoked weed. I didn't even like smoke weed, and I was suspended for a couple weeks and stuff.
Yeah. That we all know that vice and criminal activity, it creates an aura. And if you're within that boundary, then clearly you're one of them too. That's
corrupt.
how it works.
You're gone. You're gone. The church doesn't want you anymore.
Absolutely. If you walk through downtown Winnipeg, you might as well be stabbing someone. It's the same thing. Guilty by association.
You haven't yet?
Yeah.
It's like a rite of passage.
No kidding. Did I get stabbed?
There's a knife in my side.
So what transitioned you out of a stellar basketball career into comedy?
Tier 7.
Trying too hard. I think I was always like that thing of being a class clown since I was a kid, like just always having this innate need to try and make other people laugh. And if I was in a down place or whatnot, I always felt a sense of relief and accomplishment by kind of bringing laughter to other people. But it was a long process till I actually started doing comedy. I think, like a lot of kids, I was looking at my life being like, hey, what's my purpose? What can I actually do with my life, which is a question that everyone probably ends up asking themselves. And I don't know, long story short, with comedy, there was the Rumors Winnipeg's Funniest Person with a Day Job contest, and I think I entered it when I was 19. I had never done stand-up before. I invited all my friends, and it was the first round, and there were supposed to be 5 people, and 2 would go through, and only 3 people showed up. So I was like, okay, I got this in the bag. And then I definitely did not. I bombed incredibly terribly. I lost. There was this guy who had a speech impediment and was I thought was just the most brutal material of all time, but I still lost to him. So it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. My girlfriend at the time left me, and I had I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. Clearly it wasn't meant to be. And I just started tweeting and making jokes on the internet, which kind of grew a following. And I kept writing comedy as a passion and never putting it out anywhere. I was writing some bits. And then one time I was in Banff for a ski trip, and I was just absolutely wasted, and I also had a cold at the time, so I was taking NyQuil and Dayquil at the same time as drinking, so I was loopy. And we stumbled into a bar that was, I guess, hosting an open mic comedy contest, and it was one of those moments from a movie where it was does anyone else want to go up? And I went up and told some jokes that I had written, and I actually won the contest. So I wrote back to all my friends who judged me, go fuck yourself, I'm actually funny. And I messaged my ex just being yeah, you're missing out now. And from there it kind of just grew. I had to break into the scene that everyone else does, going to open mics and whatnot, but it was a very quick process for me to kind of get some credits. I think a year and a half into comedy, I started working at Rumors as actual host and MC, and I got on the Winnipeg Comedy Festival and opened up some different doors to do comedy in Toronto and Vancouver and stuff. So I've been really blessed. I'm happy that it hasn't been a crazy long journey, and for actually feeling like I'm decent at it, but still obviously have a long way to go.
Sure.
This episode of the Two Idiots Podcast is brought to you in part by Manscaped. Are you ready for some football?
Football.
Biggest game of the year is upon us. Football, get some! On February 7th in Tampa. And it's time to get your balls feeling super. Our partners at Manscaped are here to tell you to join the already 2 million men who trust Manscaped products for their below-the-waist grooming needs.
Take Gronk's advice and shave your super balls. Wow. Definitely get your Manscaped needs taken care of. Manscaped.com. We've all been there. Honestly, for the longest time, I didn't really want to mess around down there too much with the ghetto clipper that I had. But since I got the Manscaped stuff, shit's a breeze. Don't hurt myself. It's easy cleanup. No problems.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we all want to be safe while we're down there.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing you can do is get yourself a Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. Use the best tools to reduce nicks and cuts before the best game and choose the Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. Included is the Lawnmower 3.0, which is simply the best hygiene tool for the modern man.
Exactly. And that's because of their ceramic blade and skin-safe, trademarked, technology. Your snags will be reduced. Don't settle for unnecessary roughness below the waist, fellas. Come on. It also has waterproof technology and has a 90-minute battery for the really tough going. You need a little extra time.
Jeez Christ, 90 minutes. This thing's going to last longer than a Super Bowl. Now, believe me when I tell you, this is the Super Bowl champion of ball trimmers, okay? Mm-hmm. Like 6-time Lombardi winner here. Mm-hmm. The Perfect Package 3.0 also comes with Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. Crop Preserver is anti-chafing ball deodorant to keep your nuts in the game all 4 quarters.
And the Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. It's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that will give your balls a boost in clutch time. Witch hazel.
Man, doesn't that sound like just what you need?
Yeah, witch hazel.
You need it. You want it. Witch hazel, exactly. Now, Manscaped even threw in their shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. And speaking of comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and will bring your boxer game to the next level. I'm wearing them right now. They're great. Get them.
Holla. Complete your top-to-bottom grooming game with the new Refined Cologne Signature Scent by Manscaped. With the same signature scent that's in all Manscaped formulas, this cologne is a perfect complement to the collection.
It smells good. Do you want to smell good? Get it. Now it's a whole new balls game this Super Bowl. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IDIOTS at manscaped.com. Your super balls will thank you.
That's right. Definitely head to manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping with the code IDIOTS, IDIOTS. Manscaped.com, 20% off with free shipping. Use it, tackle your pubes, and win the Super Bowl in your pants with Manscaped.
Raise your own Lombardi trophy.
Yep. Manscaped. Check them out. How old are you now?
For sure.
26.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, that's quick. And you're younger than both of us, and we haven't done any stand-up.
Yeah. 25 if we're not counting COVID. I feel like we should take away a year off of everyone's age because this last year shouldn't even count.
Yeah, it shouldn't. For sure. Or it adds like 5 years to everybody's age. We're not sure yet.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for people who have like massive birthdays during the pandemic and then they're just having to like Zoom with people. Like I have buddies who turn like 9. I know people who've turned like 19 or like a 20 and having really big birthdays and stuff. And they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I'll just smear it off ice them from Skip the Dishes and call it a day.
My buddy, he turned 18 during the pandemic. What month was that? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Fall time, maybe.
Yeah.
And he basically just his mom kind of set it up where everybody comes by and they pour everybody a shot. Yeah, and then you just sort of do a shot on his doorstep, and so you kind of have a party without having a party, and it's something.
Nice.
It's not.
Well, that was kind of the thing during the first lockdown was I'd get these messages on Facebook being like, "Hey, there's this kid who's having a birthday, and we want to do like a cruise night where everyone goes by the house." And so like I reposted it, and there was like 350 cars that came by, super successful. But then it's like, we can't do that for every kid. Sorry. Like now he's just going to get bullied for the rest of his life because he was the one fucking kid who got a sick birthday during the pandemic. And then that kid's just going to be downhill from there too. Every other birthday he has, like no one's going to care the same way. So yeah, there's definitely some trends there.
Yeah, he has friends over, but he just wants
to keep up.
He just wants everybody to come by. Like, everybody needs to drive by now. Don't come over.
Exactly. I feel like too, Reg, you and I were both scared to mention that we had like 18-year-old friends. Like I saw you kind of like stumble. Like I was like, yeah, I have a bunch of 18-year-old friends. Actually, friends 17s that I'm just
falling apart.
Yeah,
falling apart.
Yeah, we poured some shots in their drinks when we go by their house.
Well, to be fair, he's my dad's stepson. soon to be. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to get into how we were connected. So,
Yeah.
but regardless,
Sounds like a made-up story.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
sounds pretty made up to
Save
me.
yourself
Yeah,
the
totally.
embarrassment, Reg.
What's that, Randy?
I said save yourself the embarrassment, Reg. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I have no shame. No shame. We were all 18 once.
It happens.
Yes. I still get ID'd like I'm 18, so
You do look quite young.
baby faced.
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to age like a Filipino woman. It's going to be lovely. I think I'll start growing facial hair maybe when I'm 70 or something.
It's a good time to start.
Just get like the 3 fuzzes coming out the bottom. That's all you need.
Yeah, I know. It just gets patchy. Like I can grow it here a little bit, but then there's just absolute bald spots. So it's not. My COVID look was pretty rough there for a bit.
I always
Need a
say
haircut.
that like Asian women look 20 until they're 50 and then they look 80.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So good for you. I hope that you can reach that.
I got at Garden City, so I can't speak too much on this topic, or else it could be a scary situation.
Be mobs coming for you.
Yeah. A Filipino mob.
Nice COVID mob. I guess speaking of mobs, I was flipping through your social media the last few days in preparation for this, and just in general because it's fun. But I saw you had taken a kind of a break off Twitter, stuff like that. Maybe touch on that. That's you're back now, or?
No, I deleted the app off my phone kind of in the summertime ish. It was like, I don't know, all I've ever like done and got recognition for was just making jokes no matter what was kind of happening. And then I guess just with the lockdown, and then when the George Floyd murder took place, it's like I was trying to walk the tightrope of what to say, and then also like I'm not this walking like meme that everyone thinks. Like I'd like to think I'm quite intellectual and I have a lot to give from an ideology standpoint. I really hope that people kind of come together. I have a lot of different projects that I'm passionate about helping in the city and stuff, so I like to kind of give my take. But then if it's kind of like the boy who cried meme, or if you're always known to make a joke, they're like, well, how can you say you're for the cause if you're making jokes during a time like this? And then my mental health was just in a really bad place with a lot of different personal issues that were going on in my life at the time. And just speaking with my fiance, we came to an understanding that, okay, gotta get help. So I went to therapy. I started reading a lot of good books and listening to podcasts. And I know it's a cliche of a book because so many people talk about it, but I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And a big point of it was just having, there's positive, how do they put it? It's not energies, but it's, fuck, why am I drawing such a blank on this?
Sounds like a
Clearly
good book.
the book was shit if I can't remember it.
It's
literally not giving enough of a fuck. Yeah.
It's just things to focus on to bring true like happiness. It's not anything that can be like short term, which is dopamine rushes from like social media, caring what people think about you, popularity. These are all values. So there's there's positive values and negative values, and positive values would be things that you can actually control yourself. So that would be like meditation, exercise, volunteering, stuff in the community, building on relationships. These are all things. So I just realized that I was caring way too much about people's perception, and Twitter, as you guys probably know, is just such a terrible, toxic place. So if you're going through the shit, it's not good to see kind of that negative energy. And also I found that during like that social peak, we really went away from having actual conversations and looking at things from a rational standpoint. People were just these 0.1% on Twitter that were just obviously known as far extremists on the left that are just miserable and looking to cancel everyone. That really was getting most of the airtime on Twitter, I found.
For sure.
And it didn't matter what you had to say if you weren't kind of checking off certain boxes from a demographic standpoint. You should just shut the fuck up and not play any part in it. And
Yeah.
speaking with a lot of my friends, like Black, Indigenous, whatever, it's just those voices that were being so heavily uplifted definitely didn't create or resemble the entirety of the group. It was just one way of looking at the situation. So
Yeah.
definitely just caught a lot of heat for, I don't know, being a comedian this time. But I think it's kind of hypocritical when social injustice has been going on forever, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just randomly picking and choosing what kind of offends you is very hypocritical, I find.
Well, and it's super common, and it's more and more common, but that's always been an issue with the left, the quote, the left, because on the right, like I'm a lefty, and I think Randy is too, but
For sure.
we grew up around very conservative people, and the one thing that they're really good at is banding together, where it's like, we are voting blue no matter what. That guy could piss in that person's mouth on
Doesn't
stage,
matter.
on camera, and we're going to vote for them every single time, which
Yeah.
is awful, and it's not critical thinking, and it's not very good, but it's cohesive, and they win things a lot. Whereas the left is like, oh, you're not left enough, or you're this or you're that, which means you can't be this or that, and they end up cannibalizing a lot of their own base because they don't
It's
want
a
to do.
very good point. It's like they try and make enemies of people who are actually on their side, and I would definitely say
Exactly.
that for all my life I've considered myself to be on the left, but you kind of hit the nail on the head of I open all types of conversation. I'll never shut down a conversation with anyone. I find that it's the best way to learn and have your ideologies be challenged and
For
stuff.
sure.
But what I do get with conservatism is that there's that fabric of what they stand for, and it doesn't really waver, and it's something that you can actually pinpoint. And that's why I think a lot of people lean conservative, because there's actually a set of guideline principles and rules
And it's
where the
stable.
left seems to be challenging,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
changing consistently.
Hmm.
And it's, I think a lot of the values, it's like what is the actual value coming of this? Because it seems like the way that they'll go about a lot of situations is in an incredibly nihilistic way of looking at different issues. It's kind of like this moral patriarchy of trying to make it seem like you're a better person, and sharing things like graphic slides on Instagram makes you a good person, as opposed to actually doing stuff in the real world. It's like,
Yep.
how many safe space posts do you need to make a week to make yourself feel like you're actually doing something right?
It's true. And yeah, a lot of that stuff makes people uncomfortable, and it's good that those graphics are being made, and it's good that there's, memes on the thing, but at what point is it just, masturbation?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I just knew, like, during that time especially, it's like every influencer is getting message being like, why aren't you using your platform, all this stuff. It's like, these are really high level conversations and issues, and I got caught up in that, where, okay, I started posting everything I could that I was being sent and being an ally, but then it just looks corny. It's like, I'm not educated, I haven't been practicing this, I'm just being shoved information to pass out when I actually don't really have an in-depth understanding. It's like with the whole like defund oops,
Oh, you're back.
sorry, my battery's low there, with the
Okay.
whole defund the police and stuff, and then it's like, okay, what actual laws are we looking to change? I remember posting something out there and then finding out that actually 7 out of 8 of these things the Winnipeg police are already doing, and so you just kind of look silly if you're just jumping on a trend of trying to use a platform to uplift voices. It's a very risky thing if
Yeah.
you're not doing it properly.
Especially
because
as
a lot of people
white
just
folks.
they don't want to be seen as the person who's not doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
biggest thing, and a lot of them are just doing it to check their their own little savior value. It's not that they actually want to help, but they want to make it look like they're helping and be like, oh, I'm coming in to save everybody, so I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said,
definitely.
we're all privileged more than most, as three at least visibly white people. And
how did you know that?
Yeah.
Kind of seemed like
how dare
my ethnicity.
It was an interesting time, even during when Steinbach had their own Black Lives Matter protest rally, whatever. They just, at first they called it a protest, then they were getting too much flack, so they changed it to, I think, a rally or a demonstration or something. People were getting real upset because they're like, oh, protest, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, they started it, and it was...
I've been categorized by certain people as like racist because during the election with Trump, I posted on my Instagram story just the snapshot of how divided the country still was, and I essentially just stated that I hate Trump, would never vote for Trump, but I think we can't keep looking at such a one-dimensional way of just writing every conservative off as being racist, sexist, homophobic, because it's not, that hasn't worked. Constantly controlling the the media and attacking anyone with a different opposing view of just putting them in this one-dimensional box, it's not going to create growth or change. And then, of course, people just take that as me believing that, all Trump supporters aren't racist, and I'm a Trump supporter, and like I went to the Black Lives Matter rally, and like all this stuff. My favorite movie is the Black Panther. Like, how can I be racist? No, I'm kidding, but it's just ridiculous. It just goes to show that, okay, I'm not a true ally. And then this girl recently, this week actually, I found out, has been going around sending Instagram direct messages. She did this 15 PowerPoint slide on her Instagram about how following people like me specifically is toxic. Like, you can't be uplifting voices like this. Then she messaged every mutual follower that they had to unfollow me or else they'd be blocked and stuff like that. And I'm like,
holy shit,
what message was I trying to share that this way that you've directly demonstrated to me when I'm actually on your side and we could have had like a rational conversation? It's just, I get painted off from just trying to explain that we need some freedom of speech to actually have constructive communication with one another. That makes me a Trump supporter. It's just, it's fucking sad, man.
Well, it loses, like, communication online. That's why I very seldomly get into big kerfuffles on social media, because it lacks nuance and people just dig in their heels and it doesn't often work. I recently got into a bit of a clusterfuck on Facebook, and it was fun for what it was, but then it started devolving into all this other branches off of, it was basically just white people talking about black people and racism and police brutality as though we know what the fuck's going on, which we don't. But that was the same thing with the Steinbach protest that I mentioned earlier. When I first heard about it, I'm like, fucking right, so let's share it. We shared it on the podcast Instagram, shared it a whole bunch, and a friend of mine mentioned, and it didn't even occur to me because that's how ignorant I was, I guess, that I didn't look into who was organizing it, kind of what. I just heard that I support the movement, I support what they were trying to do, but it turned out it was fine. But she kind of brought up, and I kind of paused briefly because I had to look into it. That at least 2 or 3 of the organizers were just young white girls, right? And one of the main things with a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff, or even just social injustice, is we need to not be the voice. We can promote people of color's voices, but we shouldn't be the ones starting the chant, right? Like in many cases. And so then if we found out that they were communicating with other people of color, and one of their other organizers was also a person of color, so it worked out. It was fine. But even at the protest, it made me very uncomfortable because a lot of the chanting was started by these like really young white kids that I know were doing it from a good place. And I'm like, okay, I get your enthusiasm, and that's great. But like, they were just full on yelling, like red in the face, like Black Lives Matter, what's his name? All this stuff. And I'm like, great. I'm very happy that you're involved. But I did some reading beforehand, and one of the points was, like, be there and be visible and be helpful. But it's not your place to be like screaming it like that. it was weird.
No, I definitely learned a lot during that period and listening to kind of the guidelines of how to be a proper ally. But
Yeah.
that is just kind of going back to the point of the unorganization, though, because you'll talk to so many different people who have different perspectives on that, right? You shouldn't say anything. You shouldn't have an opinion if you're white. And then black people say, no, please use your voices. I think the black square thing on Instagram was the perfect example of that, right? It's like, show you're an ally, solitude. And it's like, look at all these white people thinking that they're ending racism by posting a black square for a day and
it's
then
not
going
over?
back to their normal content, right? It's like, I'm sorry, what can I do? I could kill myself if that would just make things fun. Which I've been told is actually the solution I should probably do. But
that's
no,
helpful.
it's definitely to your point where it's like, I don't know, Bill Burr has a good bit about that where it's like, I'm a male feminist. It's like, well, unless if you're a woman, you can't actually understand. It's like, it'd be no sillier if I was like, I'm a Black Panther with my orange hair and blue eyes, right? So, you're absolutely correct. Like, people in our position, we can't speak on anything from what Black people, Indigenous people are going through, and we always have to be open and understanding of ways that we can help. But it is definitely just very confusing when you get told 5-6 different things, and I find that so hard to be deemed as a decent human in today's society. There's always
absolutely.
places where people can catch you slipping on something that you did in the past or whatnot.
Start a podcast or be a comedian. Those are probably a couple of ways that
it's pretty much our culture.
Yeah. Luckily, nobody tells us anything, so we can say whatever we want.
All idolize Joe Rogan.
Yeah. There's
Oprah Winfrey.
He's definitely the Hunter's Oprah Winfrey or something.
For sure he is.
That's I used to be a big Rogan fan, but I don't know. I kind of lost my taste for it, I think, and I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know.
Yeah, I found it's changed a lot. I do like the atmosphere of his old one.
Yeah.
I definitely have heard a lot about Spotify and what they've done with their content creators and how they control people and how they've effed over certain people that I really liked before. So I was a little concerned about it in the first place, and you kind of already saw the rumblings that occurred when he did switch over to Spotify with the staff. And
for sure,
I don't know. I've never thought he's like the funniest guy in the world, but I do love the conversations he's able to pull out from his guests. He doesn't overstate his opinion. He's willing to have a conversation with anyone, and
most of the time,
I can definitely relate to that.
There were very often he was actually the very first podcast I ever listened to. Randy recommended it to me in like 2014 or something. Was the first podcast I ever listened to, was Joe Rogan featuring Graham Hancock, and whose book is actually upstairs somewhere, Graham Hancock, and delightful. Love the guy. Great show. And for a lot of it, again, I enjoyed Rogan for what it was, but now it feels like he's for years he keeps saying that I'm a lefty. I like guns, but I'm a lefty, and I like having open conversations and changing my mind. But over the last handful of weeks and months, it feels like he's kind of less willing to be open-minded about things. It seems like he's almost purposely pushing buttons or pushing. I don't know. It feels weird.
Yeah, like obviously having Alex Jones on isn't the most left move of all time.
And I'm not saying he has to be. Like, I'm not saying he has to be left. I'm just saying overall, I get this weird vibe that it just feels like he's. I don't know. It feels weird now.
He feels lost, man. Like, if I'm being brutally honest with you, like I felt that way where I was like, I hate everything I've been seeing from the left of just constant negativity, no real solution, confusion, and I had so many people in my circle and in business and whatnot that were conservative, and I was like, going back to my Instagram post, I know you're not racist. Like, one of them is from Israel, extremely religious and Jewish, and he thinks Trump's a complete idiot, but he still would vote conservative, and had a lot of different policies and reasonings as to why, and he explained this. And the more I just kept looking into having these conversations, you realize it's so much deeper than just, are you for equality or not. Like
Mhm.
it is so much deeper than just that. It's either you're racist or you're not racist. It's either you're homophobic or not homophobic. It's like, if we're honestly looking at that being the divide that's in this country, when it's so staggeringly divided,
Mm-hmm.
let's change how we're actually going about this. Let's have conversations. Let's understand these ideologies. So I think Joe Rogan probably felt that, okay, look at this, censoring freedom of speech. Look at how they're always wish-washing on different standards of and moral exchanges, and that whole hierarchy of patting yourself on the back constantly, and cancel culture. I think so many people are being pushed away from the left
Mhm.
because it's so hard to understand what the actual value structure is.
Oh yeah, and the goalposts change all the time, which
Yeah,
is both good and bad, because as a progressive, you can't be properly progressing unless you're adjusting what you're striving for, right? So I get
Mm-hmm.
on some level that's a good thing, but for people that are trying to pay attention and try and figure out what the fuck you're doing, like
Yeah.
it looks like it's just a jumbled mess.
like that is like I am speaking always to a core group of like black friends. Just we always have these conversations of like, why isn't this such a cut and dry thing? Like, for example, like Black Lives Matter, and then it's like, well, it's either a statement or a movement, right?
Mm,
I think it's you're going to run into a lot of dirtbags who disagree with the statement, right? Of course, Black Lives Matter.
yeah.
And then when it comes to the movement, it's like, well, then that opens up a whole lot of different conversations, right? Like, do you want to completely abolish the police? And I think a lot of studies do show that that wouldn't be the best move right now. I totally agree with funding going towards social services, and there needs to be way more training for police. But it's like, the organization and the movement, I think, do cause a lot of questions, and it's hard for everyone to be on that same page because people agree with the statement, but there's still conflicting ideas of what actually needs to be changed, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's like we've forgotten that humans are, complex creatures, and we all have, like, it's like the left and the right, they try to dumb everything down to the simplest of terms. You're this or
Yeah,
you're that. If you're not with me, you're against me. And there's
yeah.
we say it all the time, there's no gray area left, right? But like, our brains are fucking crazy. Like,
We're
we're
all
I
all
think a
gray.
complex
bunch of
people.
people. I think if you're absolutely on one side and the opposite side, I think you're not educating yourself enough.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
might get me canceled for saying that, but it's just people
Well, then
who
we'll get canceled too,
actually
because I'm with you.
For sure.
That
yeah,
totally makes sense.
yeah, like, that's like just looking at all Trump supporters as being this one-dimensional thing. It's just, I agree that they're looking past it. I would never vote for him because I think he incites racism, bigotry. Obviously, look at him, what he did with Capitol Hill. It's like, I don't care if you put like Big Bird from Sesame Street on the Democratic side. I'd still go for Big Bird because I think this guy's just such an idiot.
He'd probably be better
Um,
at speeches than Biden, actually, if you put Big Bird up there.
Probably.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, a more solid brain, but yeah, that's not a thing too. It's like there's no reason to not vote for Biden. It's like there's actually a lot
there's
of different
lots.
reasons why people had their issues with him, right?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
yeah. What's another thing too? Like, and this is absolutely not anything we had planned on talking about, but this is fun. Speaking
Yeah.
social issues and
It's-
politics with a comedian. It's
I
good.
don't mind this over. Yeah, it's like, so how do you like writing jokes and stuff? So I'm always down to just have actual real conversations.
Yeah,
so.
man. I think it's important. And anyway, what was I going to say? The fact that in the U.S. they have 350 million people, and their leaders are always 800 years old. And
Always.
it's just where's all the young people? Like, even in Canada, think what you want about Trudeau. The guy's young, he's vibrant, he's a bit of a knucklehead, but at least he's
Great
going to
hair,
live
though.
for a while, right? I don't understand the constant, like, well, I guess I do understand it, because in the U.S.
And
it's
it
all
always
very
comes down to like
establishment, right?
they're not experienced enough. They don't
Yeah.
have the life
Yeah.
experience.
I mean, Obama was
No,
like
I know,
40
it's-
something, so
it's sad, man. It's like, it's the thing when I'm having like these deep level conversations. It's like, well, educate yourself, and then it's like, hey, well, with what information, right? I feel like you can believe literally whatever you want to believe because there's going to be the information out there to back whatever your ideologies are,
Exactly.
right? So it's tough. You definitely need young voices to shake things up. I think we saw that with Greta Thunberg and the work she did, but then she gets crucified for being young. What does she know? And then people find holes in it. But
Or AOC.
I totally agree. If you're just looking at old white people being in the house, it's like it's so far from the voice of the actual community and society. I think you need some diversity and people getting hired into positions who are actually the most qualified is very important too. I think, you know, with the Trudeau example where it's like, why was it so important to have it half and half? And then the response is just like, well, it's 2020 or whatever. It's like, okay, well, it's kind of doing a disservice to the people that you elected. You should mention that these were the best candidates for the positions and stuff. I think just having a fabric that looks good on paper isn't always the best thing to do. In politics.
We're kind
you
of
do need diversity for sure, but that's diversity of age, ethnicity, and all that stuff too,
and
right?
experiences. Yeah, like again, this might be another thing that gets us canceled, but I'm always a bit hesitant to really lean into the ultra left progressive thought of we need to have 50-50 male female, 50-50 white black, 50-50 blah 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 in these positions. And again, I want representation and I want people to have these positions, but to actively force that, it feels wrong. I mean, again, it's what do I know, right? And I think it's important. Maybe we do need to make it a bit unfair for a while.
Like it's a very tough point because like I want to jump in and agree, but then I also totally get that it's just something that you know, what is the solution then, right? Because if we're just hiring based on actual abilities, you see how that quickly goes down the wrong path, where it is typically someone is just hiring because of you know, intentional racism, and you see that in the NFL with head coaches and stuff like that. But it's a
problematic.
It's just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion, a lot of sadness. I mean, we see that with the lockdown constantly. It's like try stating your opinion without getting 50 different messages from people regardless, right? You're going to get absolutely crucified.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even like with not obeying COVID restrictions. It correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like this mentality not of, oh God, they're traveling. I hope they're healthy. Oh God, the people that could spread to. No, it's that we've been fucking locked down for months after months, pissed off about it. So if we see anyone who's not abiding the same rules that we are, I'm going to absolutely shit on them and make sure everyone thinks they're a bad person.
Yeah, I'm calling the snitch line right now.
Yeah, it's like people getting like called out on Christmas for like seeing different family members and stuff. It's like, well, if we were actually supposed to be locked down since the end of November and you haven't had contact with anyone, if you saw your parents, like, I don't think like that's a judgment call on your family and yourself. Like, I think if you go to Sobeys to get groceries, you have a much higher chance of contracting the virus than seeing your dad who's been like fucking locked up in a house for 2 months, right, on Christmas. So for sure. I don't know. It's just there's frustrations all around, and
then you have a premier who, you know, comes down and says, "Well, I'm not going to penalize my cabinet members for traveling somewhere," and then at the same conference, you give Manitoban shit for going out for Christmas. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And we're, as a society too, we're always going to want to look at that, be like, well, let me find that one example to explain why it's okay for me to travel, right? That's just the way that we always work. So it's a slippery, I don't know. it's something that I try not to tackle, and this is why maybe it's better to be a walking, talking meme, because as you just start speaking things out, it's like that could get clipped, and then it's on your name forever. But I don't know. I'll always listen to kind of what the government has to say, but do I agree that everything they've done in the stages that they've rolled it out was 100% correct? I don't think anyone would agree with that.
No, absolutely not. It's with you as a comedian, I mean, like you say, you're a walking, talking meme, or that's what people perceive you as. I mean, as a comedian, it's probably hard to go around the world without being a caricature of yourself, or being only perceived as that thing that you're known for, which must be especially difficult during a pandemic or a year with social unrest. Like, how do you separate yourself from that?
The thing about myself is that is anytime I meet someone, it's typically the first thing out their mouth is that, wow, you're not really what I expected, because who you're speaking with right now is typically who I am. I'm just very genuine. I'll always kind of stick to my guns. I try not to be that overly annoying comic who is a character of a human being, right? Like,
right. You don't have to be on all the time, right?
Exactly.
That would be awful.
So, like, I have education in marketing. I have a good job in sales, and I'm working on a startup app, and I volunteer on the board of mental health for Inspire Community Outreach, and like there's a lot of different facets.
Well, that's interesting.
And so
we had Angela Taylor on as a guest.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, who?
We had Angela Taylor from Inspire Community Outreach.
Oh yeah, Angela's a human angel. It's crazy. Anytime I talk to her, I'm just like, I feel like a piece of shit just being in your presence.
Yeah, she was delightful.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic. So, there's just a lot of different facets. And again, going back to kind of the good values, if I was this character, it would be just trying to feed into please people. And that's something that's very toxic. You can't really control that, right? So, turning it on and off, I turn it on when I go on stage, and I definitely would have to say that I'm definitely a version of myself when I do stand up, like a lot of confidence and just trying to be a little darker, pushing the envelope in certain cases. But when I'm off stage, I'm typically just myself, and sometimes I'll be funny if I have enough drinks in me or in the right social setting, but I'm not always going to be trying to start jokes and shit like that.
Well, that's kind of the thing. If you have to try to be funny, you're normally not.
Well, the best performers are always just when they're up there entertaining or doing whatever they're doing. It's yourself turned up to like 10 or 11, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and trust me, like at open mics and stuff where there's 30 comics and we're all having beers before a show, everyone hates the guy who's like constantly running bits by you. Like you'll talk to certain comics where you don't even know who they are because every conversation starts with, okay, I had this thought the other day, and it's like, well, I was at Bulk Barn, and it's kind of crazy how, like, I'm like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. Like,
Hey, just walk up to him, like, hey man, how's it going? So, traffic, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of those people. Can you watch my set and let me know how I did? I'm like, look, man, I'm just as bad as you. We all have to go through it together.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Randy, when are you going to do an open mic? You gonna go up there one of
these
days?
Oh, Lord, never. I'll do my two impressions and then go home.
Yeah. God, no.
I feel like every podcaster has in the back of their mind that they should do it.
No.
Not a chance. Not a hope in hell.
Not you guys?
No, I can hide in my basement. Nobody can judge me here.
I'm far too anxious of a person to ever get up on a stage and start attempting to crack jokes.
Yeah. Oh, wait, did I lose you guys here?
Oh, you're still there. Your screen's gone, but I can still hear you. Oh, you're back.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, man, it's one of the most mentally draining hobbies or passions of all time. It's like the highest highs. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to charge my phone and it's just not fucking working. Okay, I'll unplug it. Yeah, it's like the highest highs, lowest lows. Like, no matter what accomplishments, like, you're only as good as your last set in your own mind. And, like, you'll be on absolute cloud 9, and that's what makes it so addicting. And there's people in our scene that have been doing it for 11, 12 years, bomb maybe 95% of the time, but they keep going back to it every week because of that rush that they could potentially get of working on something and feeling that sort of love and enjoyment that you're feeling back from the crowd off of something you say is very very incredible and hard to describe unless if you felt it yourself. And then there'll be nights where just a show that means nothing, I crawl into bed and like just go on my fiance being like, I'm never going to do comedy again. Like, holy shit, I'm so not funny. And everything that woke Twitter hates about me, I say to myself already. So there's nothing that they could. It's like, oh, you think you hate me?
Yeah. Have you met me?
The club of hating Julian Rowan. I'm the fucking president of this club.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've
been hating me for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know me better than anyone.
It's anything that I've ever read about me is like, oh yeah, well, you should have talked to me 12 years ago when I told myself that. Like, I think you have to be pretty self-aware as a comic, and typically a lot of people are like dealing with their own issues, and it's just kind of their place to sort of escape. And
oh, for sure.
The hard thing about comedy is that the whole creative process is being tried and tested in front of a live audience. So it wouldn't be that way if you were a musician. You could actually work on the craft in the comfort of your own home, or an artist, and you could get your reps in, but you have to be completely vulnerable and open to the crowd in comedy. And that's kind of what makes it so scary and deflating and inflating. And the other thing too is like, if you're a bad musician, no one looks at you as that being a detriment to your character. It's like, oh, this guy just sucks at guitar. But if you go up and you suck at comedy, it's like, oh my god, this guy's the biggest loser. Like,
yeah,
what a bore. I'm never hanging out with him.
Yeah, you're kind of wear your heart on your sleeve in comedy, and it's one of those things where the art kind of dictates who you are as a person, which I would agree with, and that's kind of the thing that I've gotten like flack on in the past, is that these people think that they completely know me and know what I stand for just because I make a meme of something during a troubling time. It's like, you never talk to me.
Well, that's like saying, you meet Christian Bale and you expect him to be Batman all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Doesn't make any
American
sense.
Psycho.
I think he's closer to American Psycho every day than he is Batman.
Yeah, probably. That seems a little crazy.
The name Julian Rowan is very interesting to me. What's your heritage? You like Scottish or something?
Oh god,
Rowan?
Probably white. I think French. French and a little bit of Irish, but my dad, they came from Quebec, and my mom was from pretty much close to like a Hutterite colony. They were out on a farm, so very French. Her last name was Gervais, so like Julian Rowan. And I don't know, I can't speak a fucking word of French. I know. My grandparents would like constantly be like, anytime we're having a good conversation, it would slowly just transition into being like, yeah, we just feel like we failed you since you can't speak French. I'm like, yeah, yes, you did. You should definitely think that every day.
You failed me in many ways, but this is the most profound.
And then and then I pulled the plug. But it's our last conversation.
Yeah, you just learn. I don't know. You just say au revoir, and then you unplug it.
Yeah. Here comes the pillow. No, but my grandpa, he was a
fighter.
He lived to 94, and he was a World War II vet.
Wow.
And like a prisoner of war and stuff. And my grandma's still kicking it at like 90, 91 right now. So it's nuts. I'm definitely going to not make it to like a quarter of that age, but
no, I'm shooting for 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could get to 50, I'd be happy.
I'd be pretty
who wants
comfortable,
to see, if every year is kind of like 2020, 2021, it's like, I'll take the early checkout, please.
Yeah. 30. I'm good at 30. 30's done, please. Yeah. That's great. Actually, you should see if your grandma wants to come on a podcast. I want to talk to someone who's like survived a war or like been through that shit even as a kid. and I want actually. I'll tell a story with my.
You could probably pretend to be me too, because she has severe dementia right now. So
that's fair.
It probably won't be the best podcast of all time, but
yeah, maybe not.
I could set it up.
Just super tangential. So just walk off camera and just
At that age, though, it's just nice to talk to someone, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Fair. Well, and that's what my wife was recently. She got her teeth cleaned, and she heard from her dentist or whatever that apparently recently an old lady had come in. She came in, sat on the chair, whatever, and she told the dentist once that she closed the door, she's like, "I don't need a cleaning. You don't have to do anything. Can we just talk? Like I'm not allowed to leave my house. I've been in lockdown since like March." And she's like, "You don't have to do anything. Can we just talk?" And the dentist was like, "Well, yeah, we'll just start with an examination just to keep the ball moving, right? Like, I'll still check you out, and we can definitely talk." And then she's like, she did need a cleaning, but she didn't want a cleaning. She just wanted to come and chat. So she said, like every 30 seconds, she would sort of swat the dentist away and be like, "No, let's just talk." And then at the end of it, she's like, it's so sad. She asked the dentist, she's like, Do you change your scrubs like every after every client or every appointment?" And she's like, "Yeah, for sure." She's like, "Can I hug you?" I was like,
"Oh
my God." I know.
Didn't know I was gonna cry today, but all right.
Yeah,
I know.
Thank you.
Like when I heard that, I'm
That's
like,
so
"Oh my
sad.
God!" And then she basically said that she grew up, or when she was a kid, I don't know where she grew up from. I don't know this lady, but apparently she grew up during World War II. So she's, I guess, old. But maybe she was a young kid in Europe. I don't know. So she said that the lockdown was akin to growing up in that they had curfews and lockdowns and you got to go hide and whatever else. But still, hearing that, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And if
people.
she posted that on social media, every U of W theater student would just write her off as a shit person for trying to make the relation.
Yeah. How
What
dare
do
you?
you know, Grandma? I just took algebra.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only so much Netflix to watch, Grandma. Okay, you don't know what it's like.
Yeah. Am I still I guess this wasn't connected to my Wi-Fi and the cellular data cut out. Am I still there for you guys, or is it kind of choppy now? Okay.
Yeah, no, you're here. I mean, whatever. Whatever. We don't need you. We don't need you.
Yeah. I feel that.
More likely you don't need us, so I get that. So thank you for joining us. But
I did.
Oh.
Like,
you're glitching. You're glitching.
Now you're cutting out, yeah.
Yeah. You were good till right then. Now you're just chop.
You jinxed it.
Yeah. Oh, he's frozen.
Well, now he's like gone now.
Yeah. I was just kidding. You can stay. We can keep talking.
Please come back.
Yeah. We do need you, Julian. We do need you.
It might be okay. Is that better?
Well, at least it's working now. It's kind of super fuzzy.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm good. My Wi-Fi. It hurt my feelings too much.
Quick location change. There we go.
Yeah. Costume change.
Okay. Let me know if it's popping up. But
I think
we'll see.
Yeah.
At least you're moving right now.
I think you're good. I think you're back.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's just like all the podcasts that I typically did, it's like these 18, 19-year-old guys who are still living in their parents' basement. So like this is a nice change of pace, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah. We're a bit old.
It's just two 30-year-old guys in their own basements now. That's all.
We own this place. Well, we're in debt for this place, not our parents' debt.
Yeah. I paid off 5%.
Yeah, my parents didn't pay shit for this. We didn't even have a basement growing up. That's how far I've come from where I grew up.
Hey, there you go. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, we had a crawl space. That didn't count.
Sounds sad.
Anyway. Let's real quick. What was your biggest bomb, and what has been your greatest show that comes to mind? What's the biggest one?
I honestly, most memorable bomb would probably have to be that first time I did comedy. That feeling was awful. But then there's sometimes like open mics at the Cavern were pretty notoriously bad closer to the end, and we're going up to do a 10-minute set, and there's just one lady in the whole crowd, and she's wearing a squid hat. And she didn't laugh the whole time, so I had to do like 10 minutes of comedy just in front of a crazy lady wearing a squid hat.
That's phenomenal.
It might be the worst or best show now that I think about it. But and then I don't know. I've had some pretty sweet shows. The one that does stick out the most to me was first time ever doing comedy outside of Winnipeg. I was like stressing, like, okay, how am I going to compare? Is the crowd gonna like me? And I just said, like, it was the most electric sort of crowd, and I kind of learned that from a lot of different people. The crowds are typically a lot younger and whatnot. And like, let's say Vancouver or Toronto, then like Rumors, you'll typically get an older demographic, typically more conservative and stuff. So it was fun to like just go out to a different city and kind of crush it. Them relating to the stuff. Sometimes if I go up, I'm like, hey, I'm a millennial. How am I going to make these like 70-year-olds laugh with dick jokes?
Yeah. What would you say your style is? I've only watched a few clips because I don't go to Rumors that often, so unfortunately I haven't seen you perform. But what's your style?
That's a unique question. I should have an answer to it.
The answer can be you don't have a style. That's fine too. You don't have to be like penciled into a certain thing.
Yeah, like it's not storytelling. I'd say like observational and relating things to how ridiculous it could be. That's typically where I'll go with it. And I don't like having a lot of fat on my jokes. It'll typically be like that Rose story is like my longest kind of joke. Like typically it'll be set up for then the punchline and then a topper. And so I like to like have a lot of reps on my jokes and have it be very fast paced. So even if I do a 5-minute set at an open mic, there's like a lot of material in there. I like to definitely shy away from any topic. I do think that you can make anything be funny, but at the same time, I understand a lot of stuff is going to sound crazy if I come from kind of looking a white 18-year-old lesbian talking about different social issues. I understand what I look like. I give too much adult perspective, but I just have fun, and I find that the longer you do it, the more you kind of get used to what makes it work and kind of plug away at it. I found that when I actually deleted my Twitter, it was really helpful because instead of just thinking of those quick little comments or captions got in, I focused more so about what could be an actual bit and something
you're kind of glitching a little bit there, Julian.
Sorry, what?
You were kind of glitching there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I could move up, but do you typically go for over an hour or so?
Well, we can shut her down right away. I just wanted to quickly do I don't know if you have time, but we sometimes do a little rapid fire kind of jokey jokes, not even jokes, just rapid fire questions. Then we answer first thing comes off your head, which is always fun to do with comedians.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let me move upstairs. Just give me a sec, okay?
Sure.
No worries.
Do you guys edit the clips or anything like that?
Well, if I have to.
Okay. I was planning on just jerking for a quick 5 seconds.
That's fair. Randy masturbates throughout every episode all the time.
Yeah, it's part of the process. You ever see my shoulder just doing this?
Yeah.
People on YouTube, no audio, you never catch it, but video for sure.
You just got to mute the mic and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's like an Easter egg for people. Just
Well, it's the best part. It's the best part about Zoom is my dick's actually hanging out from underneath. You can't see.
What's that called again? When you're
Okay, it should be better here.
when your dick's just poking out of your shirt when you're just wearing a shirt and nothing else. There's a term for that. Is it just shirt cocking?
Sounds like
I don't
remember.
Shirt cocking, maybe, yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, that's better.
Turtling.
Out of my dungeon, turtling. I think we could start the trend.
Yeah, who's to say we haven't already? Let's hashtag turtling.
Turtling should really take off. I'll just walk around
For sure.
Superstore with my dick out. Yeah, no, it's just called turtling. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just put a little mask on it.
It's a new trend. It's on TikTok. You'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ. All right. We'll quickly do a few. Yeah. So we'll each answer. Randy doesn't know any of these questions yet, because I just make them up.
Okay.
All right. You don't have to try. Nobody has to try and be funny. Just answer whatever comes to mind.
No
right.
pressure.
No pressure. Metallica or Acdc? We'll start with Julian. Yeah.
Metallica. Simply because of the Guitar Hero songs that are instilled in my brain.
I can just see the colors for one go across my head.
Yeah.
Metallica for me too.
Likewise. Acdc is fine for brainless listening, but for actual good music, Metallica. Favorite board game?
Kids in my school weren't allowed to wear AC/DC shirts. Fun fact.
I don't think we were either.
No? Yeah,
No.
Probably not.
Antichrist, Devil's Child. Duh. Oh, did Julian freeze again? Yeah, it looks like.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, you're back. You're back. Okay.
I have very manic expressions.
The video is going to be really interesting. Just
Be
Julian's
like
face.
this,
Just
pathetic.
all right. Randy, favorite board game?
Favorite board game? Oh, I do love Monopoly.
Oh, what a weirdo! I think you're a psychopath.
I think if I had to pick one, I think I had to pick one. Probably Game of Life because it's easy, quick.
Fair.
Oh, you just have it all figured out, don't you?
That's right.
Life is my board game, man. I love playing Scrabble's like classic. I think playing with my grandma. Not when she had dementia.
I was gonna say you win real
I'm
easy now,
kicking
don't
your
you?
ass, Grandma.
Step it up, come on.
She keeps saying it over and over again. And yeah, I love Yahtzee. I don't know if that counts as a board game.
Sure, that's a good choice.
For sure,
My fiance
yeah.
and I are very into it. I'm a big over the board games at sex night, pretty much. Right, babe?
You kind of glitched, so I don't know what you said, but I think there was a sex joke in there.
Something about sex.
No, I said, yeah, my fiance and I, we just play a lot of board games, so it's pretty much our sex night.
Well, there you go.
Gotta do what you gotta do. That's fair. Mine might be a cop out. I'm gonna say chess right now and Axis and Allies. Otherwise, okay. If you could punch anyone in the world, Julian, without repercussions, who would you punch?
DJ Blitz. Or Ben Shapiro has like probably the most punchable face.
He does.
I don't like hate him as much as a lot of people, but oh my god, just his smirk
Yeah.
is just enough. Yeah.
As he's reading the
him.
lyrics to WAP, you just give him a knock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see him just take one in the face. Or
Yeah.
Trump. Trump would be good.
His would be too easy though. He wouldn't even feel it.
You'd have just like toner on your knuckles. Be like just ate an entire Cheetos or Doritos bag.
Yeah, it's like punching a powder puff. Randy, who would you punch?
Who would I punch? Oh, good lord.
First name comes to your mind.
I would punch Bruce Willis.
Oh, he'd kick ass. No repercussions.
Yeah, you may as well.
Just because I feel like he'd be a dick, so I'm just gonna punch him.
I am a
I would
neat
not
guy.
fuck with Bruce Willis.
Oh, Bruce Willis. First that came to my mind was also Trump, even though it'd probably be less satisfying than it's worth. So I don't know.
Yeah.
This one's a bit dated, but go-to Christmas music. What do you listen to during Christmas?
Oh man, I blast, like I have the Sonos speaker all throughout my house, and during Christmas, like I'm very festive, and I throw on All I Want for Christmas Is You at like full volume.
So you play what?
All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, always a classic.
Good man.
First that shit, and like you can actually like dab to it. You can dance, like any new trend coming along. You can a little bit of this action stuff.
While you're turtling.
Slept on Christmas track would be "Don't Shoot Me, Santa Claus" by The Killers. I love.
I don't know if I've ever heard it.
Sleeper pick for me.
Nice.
Man,
It's a good choice.
it's a good one.
Randy, go to Christmas music.
I don't really have any go-to. Trans-Siberian Orchestra is kind of what I throw on if we're like decorating the tree, or the Home Alone soundtrack.
Oh, that's a banger. That's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's
Charlie Brown soundtrack too. That's what I grew up on.
Mine is Boney M Christmas all year. Everything else can die. It's all Boney M for me.
Which one?
There you go.
The Boney M Christmas album.
Okay, maybe I gotta check that out.
You might be too young. I don't know. It's just what my dad played every Christmas that I can remember, and that's what I play. Or maybe some Pentatonics, Michael Bublé, the usual. But
yeah.
Boney M is
anything
bangers.
but War Is Over by John Lennon is me like so
What?
depressed anytime that comes on.
I missed the song title again. You glitched while you were talking.
Perfect. Anytime I have a joke, it just cuts out perfectly.
Always.
It's like that John Lennon song just makes you want to cry.
He did it again.
Like War Is Over. Oh my God. Whatever. I've actually just been saying racial slurs and it cuts out perfect.
Christ. Okay. Well, we'll rattle through these real quick. First celebrity crush. Julian, go.
Oh man. Megan Fox or Megan Fox in Transformers, and then Lights, the singer Lights, for some reason, even though she was like brutally anorexic and stuff. Everyone in high school was like loved her.
That's fair. Randy, first celebrity crush. Xena.
Lights is an underrated pick. Good call. What did you say, Reg?
I said Xena.
Xena? No, it was Kirsten Dunst in the first Spider-Man.
Ooh. That nipply scene in the
that's a good
second
one.
Spider-Man is where boys became men.
Yeah, that revved that revved 12-year-old Randy's engine real good.
Yeah, your pillows were never felt the same.
Yeah. Just oysters for days over my sheets.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Well, this went from fairly PG to rated R real quick. Mine was, if I'm being honest, probably Daisy Duke, but
Susan
that's
Boyle.
boring. So my real one is Emma Watson because I've loved her forever. So,
Nice.
yep, since I was 11.
Hermione just did something, eh?
Mm-hmm.
She grabbed that wand. Felt your own wand.
Wingardium Leviosa. That's what it was. Yep. Yeah. Dirty Harry Potter jokes. That's what this podcast is for. Favorite boy band? Julian.
Ooh, fuck. I'm not. You know what? I'm going to say One Direction, even though I hate them as a group, but they all independently have gone on to do incredible stuff.
For sure.
I love Harry Styles.
Yep.
I love Zayn. I like Neil. I think there's the one guy that everyone doesn't care about, which I can relate to.
The Ringo Starr.
Liam. I think he's done anything, but I think they're my favorite boy band because of what they've accomplished outside of it.
The sum of all their parts, yeah. Randy, favorite boy band?
Favorite boy band?
Oh, go ahead.
Backstreet Boys, hands down. And I'd just pull Justin Timberlake out of NSYNC if I had to pick one from them.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big JT guy.
That makes sense. Everybody is a big JT fan. Come on. I heard a story that when he was at the White House, he asked Obama if he could play basketball on the court, and he took a couple of free throws, and then he asked if he could take the ball home, and they said no. So not everybody is big on Justin Timberlake, but anyway, for me it's NSYNC. Growing up, I legit, embarrassingly enough, I'm going to throw this out into the ether, and I can get crucified for it. I actually drew fan art to NSYNC as a younger boy. Sent it in. Didn't hear back.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. I haven't told anybody that.
Wow.
Nobody knows that.
Is that like the scene in Superbad where you draw dicks?
Yeah, it wasn't even faces. It was just 5 dicks, and I sent it into NSYNC.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, a couple more here. That one's boring. Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin?
Oh, Peter Griffin for sure.
I know Randy's answer.
Family
Pretty
Guy
sure.
probably corrupt the most.
That's fair. Randy, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin.
Homer Simpson all day.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm a Simpsons guy through and through.
I
love the raunch of Family Guy and Peter Griffin, but Simpsons is in my heart. So
it's fair.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I grew up on both for sure, but I think just that level of stupidity and raunchiness, just something I had never really heard before. And when it kind of came out, I was just like, holy shit. I think that comes back to like comedy doing. It's like, it's so many examples and metaphors and just like quick little things. It's just what I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah. Just the vomit falling out of Seth MacFarlane's mouth.
Yeah.
South Park or Rick and Morty?
Oh, I love Rick and Morty, but I gotta go South Park.
Likewise, South Park.
Yeah, I didn't really. I'll say I didn't watch a crazy amount of South Park, but I'd have to say Rick and Morty just because it was such like a hyped up show, and I just recently watched it. I was like, hey, this can't be as good as everyone is making it out to be, and I was like, this is just such a different tier of like writing, and it's just so obscure that I just like I loved it, like the Lucy's episode and stuff.
Come on, Morty.
South Park, still episodes from South Park that I quote all the time.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely it's super iconic, but
well, that's because you're
Rick and Morty's a little more fresh.
Well, don't you probably just quote Cartman all the time because you're a racist Trump supporter, right?
Exactly. No, I'm Canadian. It's just my mouth glitching, especially on this meeting.
Yeah. Fuck, buddy. Okay. Real quick, which Simpsons character are you? If you had to pick who you were in Simpsons.
A mixture between Bart and Moe. Moe for the depression, Bart for shit to stir. The drinking.
Yeah. Randy, who are you?
Oh Lord, probably like Flanders because I think I'm too nice most of the time. Mix of
and just
Flanders
and takes off the shirt.
yeah, stupid sexy Flanders. It probably Flanders and like a little bit of Wiggum because I'm pretty fucking stupid sometimes too.
I love Wiggum.
That's fair.
Sex life is Willie. For sure.
Yeah.
Grease me up, woman.
I'd probably have to say a mixture of Lisa and what's his name? Ralph.
I choose.
Yeah, exactly.
That episode's heartbreaking.
I'm in trouble. Okay. And finally, this isn't like some self-flatulating thing, but favorite podcast right now, what are you listening to?
No one in Steinbach is going to know what this is, but I love the Joe Budden podcast. They were actually number 1 on Spotify, and Joe Budden was like kind of this antagonist in hip hop where he's just a dick to people, and that's all people know him from. But then when you actually listen to him, it's him and his 3 best friends, and the camaraderie and compatibility just on the podcast. They're so funny. They talk about all things trending. But then Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast, I recall just like being glued to that, and I think that's the most impressive one because he doesn't have guests on it. It's literally just him rambling.
Yep.
Right.
And even when he did the advertisements, like I don't skip it because he's just so fucking funny when he goes through it. But
For a lady.
yeah, for a lady.
right, Randy.
Scary. That's the best.
Randy, yours is probably a wrestling one, if I had to guess.
It's wrestling adjacent.
Mm.
It's Oral Sessions with Renee Paquette is her name. She was a former announcer. She's from Canada. She's actually started her career on The Score, doing like wrestling reviews and stuff for them. So she's recently left WWE. She was working there, so now she's actually able to do her own thing and not really have to worry about, because she's like super Canadian, like very raunchy humor. So it's nice to see her be able to just go unfiltered now. So that would be my current favorite.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Score was legendary for sure.
Cool. Mine are just the boring ones. Radiolab, Game Scoop, Uncovered from CBC is really good. But
Wait,
and of course,
Randy, do you remember the Red Rocket on The Score? You kind of remind me of him. He was the best. Like I don't know his actual name, but that was his name.
That's don't know if I do now. I'll have to. I'll do a quick Google in here.
That's what we call dog penises. So that's funny that Randy reminds you of that.
Yeah. I resemble those too.
Yeah, that checks out.
He's just like a lovable ginger.
I can't say I remember now. Shit, no, I have to.
Oh boy,
I'll have to do some looking around.
Randy's falling apart.
I haven't of him since since The Score left. But anyway.
Anyway, all right, cool.
Just my ADD brain.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's get the fuck out of here. We've stolen too much of your afternoon. It's just about football time for you. So
yeah, no, this was awesome, guys. Super nice to meet you, and hopefully once the lockdown's up and whatnot, come to a show and have some beers together. That'd be awesome.
For sure,
totally
100%.
down. Love me some comedy.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thanks for joining us,
guys.
Cheers, Julian.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Okay. Again, that that did not go exactly as I had anticipated.
Nope.
That's the beauty of the Two Idiots podcast, folks. We can't be kept in a box. We do what we want.
It went sideways in the best of ways.
Indeed. Touched on a lot of important things. Funny guy. Definitely check out. Oh, I forgot to even ask him to plug it, but go to Julian Rowan on Instagram and Twitter and all that jazz. Julian _Rowan on Instagram is what it is. Go. Funny memes. He made fun of Chris Drevler recently, so I called him out on it. But definitely check him out. Funny guy. And once COVID decides to fuck off, then hopefully we can see him live.
For sure. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Randy, if we could see anything live, It
would be a missing interaction and people in general.
Yeah.
Which is something that I wouldn't usually say because I'm like super socially anxious and like an introvert by heart, but
yeah. Yeah, it's been a weird time. Hopefully over the next week or two, things go mostly back to normal, but we'll see. So
we shall.
While you're on Instagram looking at Julian Rowan and listening to his, checking out his funny memes, listening to his stand-up clips, maybe sending him shitty DMs because you don't like how he talks.
As you heard in this episode, all he is a meme guy. So
yeah, that's all he does. That's all he's worth. But while you're there, look up the Two Idiots on social media as well. We are at Two Idiots Podcast on Instagram. Search for the Two Idiots Podcast on Facebook or Two Idiots Show on Twitter. On YouTube, we're also there, Two Idiots Podcast. And we're probably somewhere else. How else should people get us, Randy?
You can get in touch with us by sending us an email to doubleidiotspodcast@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts, what you would like about the show, what you don't like. If you have some guest suggestions, throw them our way. Dick pics, of course. I may not talk about them if they're too beautiful, just like Shane Sims. Because they
Peg City Beard Oil. Yeah.
And pick up some beard oil from Peg City Beard Company. Just shout him out real quick. Again, soon to be sex shop. And you can also find us at patreon.com/2idiotspodcast, where you can throw some shekels at us if you so like the show and want to help us keep creating and upgrading your listening and viewing experiences. It would be much appreciated. We start as low as $3 a month. Go check it out. And if you want to sign up, we'd very much appreciate it.
Yep. There are tiers for everyone. So $3 a month, let's be real. You're not going to notice whether it's there or not. So but we will. So send us that. But there's also higher tiers. So at the $7 tier and higher, you are a member of our Idiot Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yep, that's how you can get there. So basically, our current wonderful people that are in the Idiot Hall of Fame are as follows. Let's alternate, Randy. I'll do the first, you do the next, if you have it up.
Okay, see, Red Chad be totally unprepared for this. So
All right, I'll just read them out then. Never mind. I'll do it. All right,
No,
so our Idiot Hall of
him.
Fame.
I got him. We'll alternate.
Okay, so Mitchell Buckers.
Buckers. What a man. What a strapping lad.
Now you're a man.
We also have Brian Moore.
Woo woo. Followed by Mr. Drew McDonald.
Followed by Kayla Lundberg on behalf of herself and Jordan Peters.
And my surrogate mother and Randy's actual mother, Danny Dewick, is also in the Idiot Hall of Fame. So you could be too.
Hey.
Yeah. So all the different tiers get different perks, different benefits, different bonuses, bonus content, merch draws. We take you out.
You have the ability to suggest topics for the show that we may do Patreon exclusive episodes on.
Exactly. So if you want a bit more of us, or if you just want to help us out, go to patreon.com/2idiotspodcast and support us. But we understand. We don't have to. Times are tough for a lot of people. But so if you do, we appreciate every dollar that you give to us. And we're going to use it towards building something better for you. For you.
We're going to bring you in. We're going to hug you when it's socially acceptable to do so.
While turtling.
And just keep upgrading your experience.
Yeah. Awesome, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Definitely check out Julian Rowan on all the platforms. We apologize for the glitchiness. Can't be helped. It's the way of the world.
It happens.
Yep. So hopefully there was enough there for you to enjoy. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, folks. Enjoy your day, week, year, month, and be kind.
Be kind, rewind. Something all the time.
Yeah. All right, folks. Peace out.
Bye.